victory for, I think it might be a slight victory for KC supporters as well. But Dallas wins 2-1 over Sporting at home. We get our first win of the season. And breaking news this morning on Victory Monday, Peter Vermes out. And not just out of the car getting searched while they give him a breathalyzer.
Wait, isn't he still athletic director, or no? Did they fire him from that one? I know he had both jobs. He was the head coach or the manager and sporting director.
The press release said that they mutually parted ways. So I assume that means he's completely leaving the club, but I guess we'll find out in the coming days as to what that means. Because they're going to
talking to KC fans at the tailgate. It sounded like he had already taken some steps back in his roles because he really wanted to focus on coaching more than anything. So
well, as it turns out, the MSL carousel will still keep going. He'll find a job next season. That's almost guaranteed.
Oh, for sure.
Still has jobs, and I don't know where. I think he's at the Revs, right? So it's one. I want to give MLS shit for that, but that's almost every league in the world. Once you get on, you can always get a job. Like, we'll just rotate you through.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think Vermes will struggle to find a job in Major League Soccer.
No, and he might be better suited to be an athletic director or a technical director somewhere as opposed to being, the guy on the field. But
I think that's the problem. He wants to be the coach.
Well, he might not. Jerry Jones wants to be the GM. That doesn't mean he's good at it.
Oh, there's plenty of clubs like FC Dallas who would probably be more than happy to acquiesce.
Well, I mean, 1 MLS Cup and 2 Open Cups, if I'm not mistaken.
He's not a bad coach. He's just inflexible, right? Is the story?
Yeah, he's got trophies to show off. So as long as
he's got as many skins on the wall as FC Dallas does. So
by himself, yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, he has an MLS Cup and we don't. We only have 1 MLS appearance, and that was a really cold day in Utah, if I'm not mistaken, right? 2010. It was a terrible game, but yeah, we got him fired. 2-1 us, 2-1 the good guys. Again, all our wins are on the road, and then the win here is a little suspect. So
kind of looked like we were playing on the road, right?
Yes, like we beat.
Felt that way. Yeah,
we beat Houston, whose record has improved. We
has
Colorado, whose record is, I think they're only 1 point behind us, and we lost to Chicago, who I think is 4th in the East. So all things being equal, we're not doing terrible.
And the loss to Vancouver, who were sitting up top, right?
Yes. Now, Houston keeps making those silly mistakes against every team, like the weird ball giveaways and stuff. I don't know if y'all watched yesterday. There was another really bad one.
Yeah, I saw the highlight package. They keep signing people too, so they're still searching. I think they had 2 signings this week, so they're still looking to fix the issue. I don't know, for a team that I hear that might be selling soon. The fact that they're still purchasing is a little interesting. But yeah,
there's got to be something left to buy, right?
Well, I mean, the stadium is still there. The stadium itself is worth the investment if you're purchasing. Also, Salt Lake is looking to sell, but that's another story for another day. I think, like I said, once we have a bye week, we're going to talk U.S. soccer in general, especially coming up to the World Cup next year, where we're not talking about that, this depravity there. U.S. men's national team, Civil War. We got the old veterans, the guys we used to respect because they always had something to prove, and then we have the kids who don't have anything to prove because they're already in Europe. And maybe this is proving a point for all the U.S. men's national team that, hey, I would rather have some gritty, maybe underachievers, like the Alexi Lawless of the generation that'll fight than the divas who think they're entitled to it. But that's just me personally. And that's coming from a Jamaica fan where our nickname is UB40 because almost all of the Jamaicans men's national team are actually English. So, it works out in our favor.
Oh, I thought you just meant they were old guys.
No, we got the young English guys who can't make the England team, so that's always fun. Except for Andre Blake, true Jamaican and MLS great. So 2-1 FC Dallas, Kansas City. Lucho Acosta, I think, got his second goal this season or third, and he is now the member of the 75 and 75, which I guess in baseball terms that's the 40-40 club for all the baseball fans.
That's about right. 75. There's a little bit more exclusive than that. He's only member number 7 in that club, so that is
that's pretty wild, actually.
Exclusive list.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the first goal came. First goal came from Sporting KC in the 32nd from Saloy, and that was a little bit of a
Salawi, something like that. Yeah.
Saloy.
I always pronounce it wrong, but I know it's not Saloy.
Give me a pronunciation guide. I'll figure it out.
Guys, it's Shallowy.
Shallowy, there we go.
Thank you. I think I wrote that down somewhere too. But
I don't want to remember his name because I'm sick of him scoring on us.
yeah, let's talk about that a little bit too, because that came, like I said, that came in the 32nd minute, and he was just left wide open on that back right corner, and that cross went into him, and he settled it right down and just struck it in cleanly.
Yeah, it was a beautiful finish, but he had all day to do it. Like,
Right.
It was ridiculous how much time he had.
Are you saying we want more defense from Shaq Moore?
So watching it, like I feel like Shaq Moore should have been out there, but also legit quit trailing him, which was weird. I don't know whose man it really was at the end, but either way, it's surprising that Shaq Moore wasn't like right on him immediately.
You're at the back corner in the box. That's Shaq's man. Like if Shaq's out of position, then somebody needs to play him. But it didn't look like he was out of position. He was just not marking his man. And
now Shaq was marking a man further in, wasn't he, when that happened?
Yes.
So just an assignment issue, maybe.
Possibly, but it goes back to this confusion that seems to continue to be happening on that Shaq Ibiaga side, that right side of the field. The defense is just, it's weak. We don't know what it is, and I don't know what's causing it. I don't know if it's miscommunication or if it's difference in, I mean, both guys speak English. It's not a language barrier or anything else like that, right? So what could possibly be the confusion there? Is it just a lack of skill? Is it a lack of effort? What do you think?
I don't know. Shaq Moore's on this team for the attack, right? At least that's what I think the consensus has been. But
if you're playing right back, you got to play defense
like that, though. I'm trying to decide defensively if I feel any better with Shaq over like Emma the last few years or not. So far, it doesn't feel like that much of an improvement, at least on the defensive side of things. But I think overall, Shaq hasn't been bad, and he wasn't bad this game defensively. It just seemed like a blunder.
So I'm going to throw some numbers out here real quick, and you guys tell me what you think about this. I'm going to compare Shaq to, and I know we've had quite a few guys play the right back position over the past year and a half, 2 years or so, but I'm going to compare him to the most recent, I think, permanent starter, and I think that was Ruan. Ruan was making $440,000 last season. Shaq's making almost $800,000, and
we know that for a fact that Shaq's making $800,000.
That's based on what's out there. It could be wrong, but that's what most of the sources seem to be in agreement on. So I'm going to go with it. It's got to be close to that number, right? So maybe it's not exact, but he's making close to double what Ruan was making. And he also cost us minimum $50,000 in GAM, potentially $150,000, depending upon how we finish and some other bonus incentives and things like that. But so we essentially gave up between 50 and 150 GAM and are paying him double what Ruan was making. What do we, and I'll leave this up to you guys because I know what I'm feeling on this, but how are we feeling about that? Is Shaq an upgrade?
I think Ruan was a solid piece, but he also took up an international slot, right? Which is worth considering.
That definitely, that definitely is a consideration.
I'm not thinking that I'm feeling much better, but I also wasn't blown away by Ruan. So I guess if I'm saying I'm feeling better or not, on the attack, I'm feeling better. On the defense, I'm feeling similar or a little worse.
So I think Ruan's not the direct comparison. Tomase, that was his position.
That's what I was thinking. Was Emma? Yeah.
And he, obviously, you're not going to compare him to Shaq, who's a national team member. So you get the national team bonus, which is why he's making, 700 plus, right? Tomase was homegrown-ish. So I think he maxed out this year just shy of, or he would have maxed out this year just shy of $500,000. And to be honest, defensively, Tomase was strong. He had the speed to recover. He had the discipline to, he wasn't the reason, like he wouldn't break an offside trap because he wasn't paying attention, right? He was very diligent in his defensive duties. The problem we had with Tomase is he was a winger to begin with. So we converted him with the understanding that you would move forward.
The FC Dallas way.
Yes, he never quite got the moving forward. I mean, to be honest, Hollinshead is the only one that worked with, right? It's like defensive mindset, but when we're running forward, he's he's the extra wing on that side. So if we're comparing Shaq to Tomase, it's either break even or a slight deduction in my point because we're paying him too much money. And again, he's a national team. I mean, he's on the outskirts of the national team. He's not like an automatic starter type. So maybe we should lower our expectations a little bit. But yeah, I would have preferred we'd have kept Tomase. I understand why we look at the resume, we look at the national team, we're like Shaq Morrison update. And he might end up being as we all play into the season. But as of right now, I don't our defensive backs are an issue, right? Farfan didn't start this game, and we'll talk about Nelson later. That kid, I mean, he's a kid, so there were mistakes, there were obvious mistakes, but if I'm going to get obvious mistakes, I'd rather it from a kid than Farfan, who's 27 now and 8 years in the league. Like, I need you to figure out what you're doing. So, yeah, as far as Shaq goes, that Shallowy is not a guy we should mismark. It's him and Russell when it comes to Kansas City, right? We know what Russell has done to this team in the past. He's retired now, so not really a fair, but it's like watching some of these Miami games where you're like, how do you lose track of number 10? What are you doing exactly?
It's the one guy you're supposed to be paying attention to.
You can lose track of everybody else on the field. You can lose track of every player in the league, but number 10 is the guy you're super glued to. But when you're only 5'4", maybe guys just look over him and be like, oh, where's Smith? Oh, he's scoring. So
already in goal.
Yeah, to answer the question, I think Shaq Moore, it's early in the season, but I don't think compared to Tomase, I don't think he's a massive or marked improvement, in my opinion.
Yeah. I will say with Shaq Moore, I definitely saw the last couple of games at least some improvements in attack that we hadn't seen in the games before. Taking a few more shots, digging a little bit deeper into the corners and crossing in. So I do think at least on the attack, we're going to see that be an improvement. We'll see what the defense does the next few games with him.
So I agree with you on the attacking front, but the reason I made the comparison to Ruan is because I think Ruan was a better attacker of the two, and I think he's still the better defender of the two, too. And you want to throw Tomase in the mix? Yeah, I think both of those guys are a step above Tomase as far as attack goes. I think Tomase may be the better defender of the three, might be just about even money with Ruan, but I'm not seeing out of Shaq Moore what I expected for as much hype as, he's coming home. He's a national team player who frankly hasn't been in a camp in a while either, right? He hasn't gotten called up to at least the last 2, maybe 3 camps. I don't think he's played under Pochettino at all yet. He hasn't got called up by Pooch at all. So we'll see how this goes, but it is definitely a question mark. I don't think it's a problem yet, but when it leads to goals like this opening goal of this contest, it becomes a problem and it's a concern, especially considering this team's history and recent history with defending crosses to begin with, right? If you can't defend the cross, you got to defend the man that's receiving the cross. It's one or the other, right? You either got to be able to stop the pass or you've got to stop the shot, and they did neither of those on that play.
Yeah, I certainly need more time before I totally decide how I'm feeling about Moore, but I see what you're getting at for sure.
Do we think he pairs better with Chu or Julio on that side of the field?
Well, that I think leads me to my next item on the run sheet here is Leo Chu opening his account. And that was the second goal for Dallas. We'll bounce around here a little bit, but that Leo Chu goal was exciting. And frankly, I think any of the three of us could have made that goal. That was
good for Chu, and that's a good finish under a little bit of pressure to perform, I'm sure, but that was a legit goal, man. Oh my gosh. The run that Legit makes, the fighting for it, and to slide and cross it with the outside of his foot while he's going down and get it right to Chu's feet. I mean, holy cow.
I will say it was a difficult goal. His back was to goal. And the smart move there, that's one of them things where, like, if I'm Musa, if he misses that, I'm punching him directly in the face. Because I think goal and I'm facing you. Yeah, just lay the ball off and I'm going to tap it in. But you could see how much it meant to him after he scored, ran to the corner, showed the shirt he had on there. It meant a lot to him. I know he's coming off an injury, and we never played professionally. I played up until college. It's one of them things where, like, when when you come off an injury, you have.
That was a hell of an under 5 player. Okay, speak for yourself.
Again, I only played till college, not but yeah, it's one of them things where when you come off injury, there's a doubt in your head, like, am I going to be back? Am I going to be as good as I used to be? I think Velasco is running into that mindset right now in Argentina. Is like you were off for almost 18 months, and but
it doesn't just come back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll find that out later with Pax this year. I think this is make or break with him, but that's another conversation. But yeah, it was a good goal, back to goal. He had enough time to control it and turn his body. I've seen opportunities like that skied because they were leaning back instead of just doing what you need to do, which is just get the ball, about shoulder height, so you avoid the defenders. But yeah, Musa was obviously in a better position, like wide open, like layoff. But when you haven't scored in a while and you've been injured, I get why he took it. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with our boy Lletget, but maybe he's back in a certain relationship with a certain person, but he seems to be having something to prove this year. He's 31, right? He's getting in the not sunset portion of his career, but at 31 in the position he plays.
People are watching you to slow down now.
Yes, this is your last big contract. No one's going to give you DP money next go around, right? So, that was a hell of a run. The defender tried to body him off the ball. He could have easily fallen down the foul, but he headed it down to himself, turned the corner. He could have also fell down in the box. That may have been a penalty if I watch the replay correct. But he toe poked it and it worked. And we did to them what Chicago did to us, right? They had 3 goals in 8 minutes. We had 2 in like 3.5.
Yeah, 2 in 2 minutes. 37 and 39 were the official.
Yeah, sure. I think that Lletget run personified the grit that Quill wants. Like, I think that's exactly what Quill is wanting. And if we get more of that, great. I mean, it was very never say die, good personality. And credit to Leo Chu, though. That was a very attacker's instinct goal to take. And even Paz, after he scored the goal, Paz immediately was celebrating with him. So,
And so
I will still take Julio. I think Julio breaks lines better.
I think so too. I think Julio is a little bit faster as well. But on the Lletget subject, which is another item here on the sheet, but I think this new formation has allowed Lletget to get further forward. This new center diamond, having the extra 8, double pivot, whatever you want to call this thing, is really allowing Lletget to get forward, knowing that he's got defenders behind him. And what I'm seeing is a little bit more direct play out of the midfield too, right? We're seeing a little bit more ball over the top, a little in and out coming in from Lletget and from Acosta, from Musa, and you're seeing a lot of these sort of deep runs, which I guess is to be expected for a team that loses the possession battle nearly 2-1, right? So again, they came away with a win, 3 points in the pocket, 3 points at home, first win at home, but there are still a lot of question marks open about this team, right?
Yeah, when I will say, when I saw the stat that they had 60%, I'm like, wait, was I watching the same game? On rewatch, yeah, we scored, and then for the second half, we were just like, you can have the ball, and that's got to be frustrating if you're like Musa. And I don't know if you guys noticed, he's not coming back as far.
He's not.
Games. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that.
I think that's the formation more than anything.
Yeah,
but it's like I was saying though, we played at home like we were the away team, which was kind of weird.
And I will say, I had to rewatch the game this morning because you were, like you mentioned in the last episode, I was up on the Capo stand this week. And first of all, shout out to you and Arjun and everybody else that does this, because holy crap, that's a workout. my lungs. Yeah, still breathing in that red smoke and yelling and screaming, and it was just it's a hell of an experience. But my goodness, and like you said, I had to rewatch the game this morning, so I noticed a few more things in retrospect. By the way, we were loud as hell. Our section was loud as hell on television. The new stadium, like the way the stadium is cut in half right now. Obviously, it's a lot quieter than it is, but that supporter section is loud.
But the sound is bouncing back more than it used to. That's actually kind of helping the atmosphere, I think.
It sounds incredible on TV. The chants were coming through loud and clear. I heard my voice a few times loud and clear. I heard Arjun on the megaphone several times. So if it's something you've ever done before, it is a hell of an experience. And shout out to everybody that does that, because holy shit, that's a workout.
I will say, we better be careful. We might ban ourselves from bringing instrument in, like certain rival teams that bring drums anymore because they don't want us to make more noise than their supporter section, right? But yeah, so we can go through some stats here while we talk about the game. Shots on goal, shots 13 them, 7 us. That's 7 shots is kind of low.
Almost 2-1 again.
Yeah. And then we had 2 shots on target and 2 goals. So, efficiency, 100%. We'll take that every time. 37% possession. Our passing, 330 to us, 540 for them. 85% passing accuracy for them, 76 for us. That's terrible.
Wow, that's worse than I thought it was.
Yeah,
and they had nearly twice as many passes as we did too. So they're 465 passes to our 257. So that is not a great stat. Again, this team won. They came away with the win. They looked okay, but there is still holes.
Also, what do we think? I think this many games in, I think this is the lineup, right? I think
generally,
I think we figure out now that it's Norris for Farfan, and then Chu and Julio, and then swap out of Farrington and Siki around 60-ish minutes, give or take.
I will not stand for the Delgado erasure.
Oh, my apologies. You're right. Delgado is started. My apologies. Well, it's going to start the first 2 games. So, yeah, you're right.
No, sure.
Delgado seems to have worked himself back into the lineup. And I'm not upset. He's not doing anything great. He's not doing anything bad. He's just there. I did see a couple of plays where the rust was showing, where he would look down.
Absolutely.
He would receive the ball, look down to make sure it was there, and then look up, and then there would be a defender there. And I'm like, at a certain point, I need you to be able – I know we've talked about this, or I've mentioned in former previous podcasts, where it's like we need a third guy for the Musa Lucho single pass thing to work. Because there've been a couple of times where they do a 1-2 and they pass it to the third person expecting another one, and it dies.
And that third guy just doesn't have the quality.
Yeah, so we need the third guy. I don't know who that's going to be. Legit could be that third guy. He's definitely has the quality.
He's definitely had moments where he's been the third guy. He just hadn't benefited from it yet. We're talking about the Salt Lake game where he had his opportunities that just didn't quite get in. Well,
yeah, if we can back up just 1 second, I do want to talk about that first Dallas goal, which was 5 minutes after Kansas City scored. That Acosta just takes the ball away, right? It was just an errant pass that he was just right in the right spot and played it very well, not taking anything away from him. And it was a great capitalization, and he and Musa having that little 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 is really starting to play well. And
they erased like 4 guys in that play. It was crazy.
And so you're starting to see that really take shape now, right? So that 1-2, 1-2, that back and forth, the Rocky Bullwinkle, Moose and Squirrel connection that we got going on there. Big tall guy, tiny little guy running around, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And I really, really would like to see what this looks like with when we bring Anderson Julio back, being that third guy who's got a bolt of speed too, and seeing these guys really just blast through defenses. I think it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to get Julio back. I was excited that he wasn't on the player availability report, hoping we'd see him. I okay with what we saw, but I do think Julio is a step up from the other wingers we have going right now, and I'm excited to see that. We saw it in the first couple of games, even before they were really building that chemistry up. I think we'll continue to see that, and it'll grow. I think that attacking trio will be very scary.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Musa's becoming the assist king. I think he has 2 goals and 4 assists this season. So
I mean, he's been involved in almost every single goal this year.
Pretty much. That was a good play, not giving up. Yeah. So he saw that when you did it, and he was walking into the tunnel. I think he appreciated that for sure. Yeah, that was a good play on his part. He didn't give up. The defender slid, got a touch on the ball, not a good touch. Musa recovered, drew 3 defenders to him.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was just standing there like, hey, pass me the ball. And yeah, goalkeeper really couldn't do anything about that because he had to play the post. So as long as you targeted the ball to the opposite side of the goal, It was going to go in because he had no choice at that point.
It's things that DP should pull off, right?
Yes. And here's the thing. Speaking about the third guy, I kind of wish Jesus was still here because he's a third guy. I mean, not at the end of last season. Obviously, that's coming off injury, but we've seen his kick.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that from him.
Yeah, he might end up being the next 75 and 75. Like that kid, I mean, I know he has over 50 in the league, so solid player. Hopefully, this season in Seattle, he's been okay. Hopefully, he recovers fully from his injury. I want to see him succeed like deeply. I make
think-
Just not 2 weeks when they come to town.
Right.
well, or when we go there in May. And to be honest, he'll probably have a brace then, just to prove a point. But yeah, I want to say Pepe is the last, in my opinion, the last great generation we have of that, because we haven't really focused on our academy in a little while. And funny enough, I think North Texas has hurt more than it's helped, right? Because we have the stopgap in the middle. And I know why they did North Texas is because of the Weston McKinney, right? So he was in the academy and went straight to Juventus, and we didn't get any solidarity funds from that, which I always found funny because we don't give it to USL clubs when we steal their players, but we want our solidarity payments. That's not hypocrisy in any particular way. But yeah, I know why we created North Texas, or I know why they did that, so there's a stopgap where we can do a touch above academy. But I think a lot like the Paxtons, the Jesus, the Pepis, the fact that they skipped that and had to immediately start playing with adults, I think helped them a lot. Which is why I think if we're going to loan out anyone, they need to go to a championship side. They need to
Which is why North Texas was better as a USL team for me.
I agree with you, because MLS Next Pro is not it, which is why they're planning. Rumors are they're planning to do their own Division 2. And I don't know if that's going to be any better. You're still going to be playing in small stadiums like Cincinnati, who plays in Kentucky for reasons that we don't quite understand.
Yeah, I just need to play against grown-ass men,
Yeah, you need to be playing against, even if it's just a 30-something who's just there, that this is his last attempt at being a professional, right? But he's a grown-up. He knows things that these kids need to know.
Right.
Playing in MLS Next Pro with a bunch of other academy kids who are 16, 17 is like that's in my opinion, it's not helping a lot. But
it's not the same kind of challenge.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So like Jesus, I want him to succeed again, like Dennis said, not against us for sure. But yeah, 2-1 us, and then we move on to Seattle this weekend away. Am I correct on that?
No, we are away at Atlanta this week, home against Seattle in 2. So Atlanta's a tough team on the road.
Wait,
but
before we leave the game,
yeah,
we need to talk about Kaique.
Well, I want to talk about 2 players right now, and we're gonna jump from the academy into academy star Nolan Norris getting his first start first, and then Kaique making his debut in the 75th. I'll go first here real quick. I think Nolan looked good to left for, again, kid in his first start. Marco Farfan is clearly the starter of that position right now, and Marco's had a couple of mistakes, but I think he looks decent. But again, Marco's a guy that's been running to the ground the past few years in a row, so having Nolan be the left back and be able to at least give Marco some breathing room and give him a day off occasionally, I think is going to be really helpful, especially as we get a little later into the season. And on Kaique, I will say Kaique looks like he is going to be a career level shithouser as long as he learns the rules, right? Because he came in and immediately went to ground the second somebody breathed in his direction, not realizing that when they had to call up fan. Oh, okay. I'll let you speak in just a quick second. We'll kick this over around the horn, but just like watching Kaique go to ground real quick, not realizing the time stoppage rules that he had to go out and the speed of play rules, or that they're called, that he had to actually go out for 2 minutes was I guess a learning experience, but this is a kid that looks like he's going to come in and just kick shit around. And Nolan Norris is another one of those guys, right? He's a guy that's just going to come in and take your legs out from underneath you any opportunity he can. But I'll let you guys pass that around for a moment.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I think Nolan, like I said, for those the audio listeners who are not watching the video, I had a sticky note that said Farfan who on it.
Check us out on YouTube if you're listening on Spotify.
Yes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple coming soon.
Check the YouTube for the video feed that you can see what Marcus was posting.
Yeah. So the thing about Nolan, right? If he's going to be playing a left wing, he has to stop the thing that he had an issue with last year, where I think every game he played in, he got a yellow card. As a defender, that's not a thing that you can do. As a 6 and 8, you can maybe get away with that, but as a left back, much more discipline is required, and he showed that discipline. We were all worried, I think, who was going to give Farfan rest when the time came, and after watching this, I feel completely comfortable playing against some teams. Now, obviously, if we're playing upper in the table, Farfan, the vet, he knows what he needs to do. But if we're playing mid-tabling teams, midweek teams where we need Farfan to take a break, I don't see an issue with that at all. His positioning is good. He kept looking over his shoulder, so he wasn't. I mean, having Ibby over there helps as well. So you have a player coach like, all right, kid, you need to step forward, you need to go out, you need to come back. That also helps. And then the new kid, I hate high numbers. I hate when Bradley Wright Phillips had 99.
You don't like the double nickel, 55?
55. This is not the Mexican league where we have triple digits when the academy kids come in. Okay, we're not doing this. But yes, you're right. He looked like he looked like he might turn into a Grazo type when we finally mold him. We need an asshole Don. We need someone who is not so
dollar
nice.
In the swear jar.
Swear jar. We need a guy who's not so nice to start taking out some kneecaps legally, of course. There can be a legal crunching tackle.
We'll call them smart crunching tackles.
There you go. Yeah. Or professional fouls is what they call them now. Yeah. So yeah, it was the right opportunity. We were all saying we needed an opportunity to have him start, and it's either when we're down 3 or up a goal. 2-1, it's still a little risky, but I think they were confident enough in him that he could at least ice the game. So, like I said, I think these games in, besides Paz, we don't have anyone who's really going to be leaving on international duty on a regular enough. Although Lucho might be switching to America, so
Let's
United
go.
States of America.
Yeah. Sorry, my apologies. The United States of America, including the 51st and 52nd state of Mexico and Canada.
Oh, you're gonna
couldn't handle governing a country like Mexico.
Yeah. And
I just hope there's not like a Greenland team that we end up against in the World Cup because they're just going to dominate us.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I think 50. How are we pronouncing his name? Number 55.
Kaique.
All right. I think Kaique. He needs time to. He's been here 2 weeks, right? Since the
Yep.
I think he needs another.
Yeah, and he's pretty much a kid.
Well, he's $4 million. I don't mean yeah. When you pay what you pay, soccer is the only, well, not the only sport. It's one of the few sports where they said if you're good enough, you're old enough type joint. So
fair enough.
Yeah, 19. Because how long do most players play? Right, you retire at 35-ish, right? So at 19, you only got 10 more years, maybe max.
Yeah, sure.
To prove yourself. So all in all, the problem again with this game, as the same problem with last game, you're up a man in Salt Lake, you're supposed to win. You're playing the worst team in the league, you're supposed to win. Right? We've played Vancouver, one of the better teams. That didn't go well. We played Chicago, who, as it turns out, is one of the better teams, didn't go so well. So now the old sports cliche is that you play who's in front of you. So you have to win those games, because there are previous seasons where we've played down or up depending on the competition.
Oh, we've loved doing that.
Yeah. But I think those two debuts I think went well for us, and I think as the season goes along, I'm getting more optimistic as the season goes along, because I'm watching all the other games and I'm not seeing any world beaters. Right? I'm not seeing LAFC from 2 years ago where it's like, all right, well, this is just a foregone conclusion. I think Seattle is digging themselves maybe too big a hole this year.
Oh yeah, it's looking bad.
Yeah, they can't do their normal. We're just going to hover around 6 or 7 and then. So yeah, well, I'm excited, guys. Hubert, how do you think?
Well, I was gonna do the Farfan Kaique talk, and Nolan. I'm really excited that we finally saw Nolan on the field. I hope that they're committing to a position finally. That's my main thing with Nolan. I think he's got the ability to be put somewhere back there. I just need them to pick a spot and let him have it. I think that Nolan is a really good player of the ball. I think he can pass pretty well across the field and things like that. I think we saw that before. And I'm excited to see that hopefully get developed against, real men and not just in practice, where it's a little friendlier. I need him to get minutes, and that's what we've been talking about. Anybody who's followed FC Dallas and like the academy for years, we've all been seeing Nolan as a good raw prospect that we needed to develop. That being said, I actually don't think his position was that good this game. I thought he kept overrunning a lot of times, especially down in the corner between the goal box and the touchline. I thought he kept overrunning his attacker a lot of times, and he got bailed out a couple of times, and he would do desperate pulls of the ball that scared me.
I will say, Farfan, that's one of the things I hate about Farfan, too.
And he does it a lot less than Norris.
Yeah, he over pursues a lot, and he over pursues towards the goal instead of closing them out towards the. But yeah, go ahead. I agree with you on that, too.
Yeah. Nolan made a lot of kid mistakes that will cost us games if he keeps making them. I was surprised he didn't get another yellow, did he? There was especially one where he drug a guy down and there was nowhere near the ball.
No, so
that stuff still freaked me out. I just need him to get more minutes, get some lower quality, which these are the kind of teams he can do that against. I think that as far as our defense is concerned, I'm more worried about other things than I am Marco right now. There are no superstar left backs in this league except for one, and it's Jordi Alba. Left backs are not easy to come by, good ones. And I think it's easy to criticize Marco, but he's on par with the rest of the league in terms of left back. So I'm all right with it until you get his guy developed under him. I just want someone to give him rest.
I got 2 words for you: Hollins and head. Okay, we had the greatest.
That's one word.
No, 2. We had the greatest left back in the league, and we were like, we don't want to pay you. And
you can't say that in a Jordi Alba world.
No. Again, Hollins had. I think he led the league in scoring for a left back for 2 seasons. He's always a defender of the year. The thing about him is that he doesn't get the praise because he plays here, right? We've never had a player that, no matter how well they play, like Jesus was, because he was, on the outskirts of the national team. But like, you have to be. Mauro Diaz to us was godly, and if you look at the stats, he was one of the best players.
Oh, absolutely,
in the league
of all time at that point.
Yeah, he got no love because he plays here, and it's
sure.
As anyone who watches North American sports, right? If you live in a non-coastal, Dennis doesn't know this because he's from New York, and you could be a mediocre player in New York City. Ask Lynn Sanity, and they will hype you till the day is long. You can
be DeVito. How you doing?
Yeah, you can be the Greek freak in Milwaukee, and they're like, oh yeah, he's okay.
Oh yeah, coastal bias in American sports is huge.
Yeah, you can be Wimbiana in San Antonio, although because of San Antonio's legacy of winning, it's a little easier for you to break through there. But that's what I'm saying. That being said, Hollins Head to me was the league's best left back for a lot of seasons, but he played here. And the most people know about him is that he once got out of his car to save someone in an ice storm and got an injury. I don't know if you ever heard that story, Hubert. It was on the news for like 3 years running.
No. I definitely don't think comparing most left backs to Ryan Hollingshead is fair. But also, most left backs aren't playing the same role as Hollingshead, to be fair. But yeah, I just think in this league, when it comes to left backs, most of them are average at best. And you could exchange most of them. If we can develop Norris into being even above average at that position, I will be so thrilled. And I think he has the potential for it, and that's what I'd like to see. I'm just glad we finally know that there is a backup at the left, and we know for sure we can do that. On to Ka'ike, I got real pumped watching him. I think that he makes really good runs into space, or at least for a game, right? He was making some really good runs into space, and he was clearly reading the game before it happened. I think he did a good job of closing down people before passes were made and everything. I think he's, based on what little we saw, I think there's a real deal thing there. I'm excited to see what he ends up developing to as year goes by. I'm intrigued by the fact that they played him instead of Show this game, given that they were both available. I don't know how fit Show is, but he was on the bench, I believe. But when you got Ramiro who can't go 90, I mean, we were going to see one or the other, right? So I'm happy to see the kid.
Yeah, I'm glad to see him too. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? FC Dallas 2, Salt Lake 1 at home, 3 in the pocket.
I'm with Marcus. I'm still getting a little more excited as we go. I think barely beating Kansas City isn't as damning as it looks on paper. Like Kansas City's bad, but they do have potential to cause some trouble. and they have. So
Yeah, well, in a parity league like MLS, everyone is dangerous just
Yeah.
to the end. And Kansas City has had our number for many a year. But again, I don't want to sound. I mean, to be honest, I am the pessimist, and everyone who knows me knows that. But that said, I'm more hopeful every game. The back four looked more solid, but again, last
we're
game,
leaking less.
that is true. And so we don't have to send Ibi to Guam. We can take his paperwork back from the visa office. He's good to stay at least a little bit longer. Do y'all have an opinion on why we're not starting? Like, we refuse to swap him out, right?
For Abubakar?
There we go, Abubakar, right?
Abubakar seems to be the closer. It seems to be the guy they bring in an 85 this week, 91. He's the extra body when they need an extra defender up on the block, and they just throw him up there.
You think Quill sees him as the closeout guy then?
That's what
Simple as
it seems
that?
so far.
So until the schedule gets congested, you think he's just going to be the 80th-ish minute guy?
Yeah, I think we might just start to see him maybe rotate in when we start to see some Wednesday games and U.S. Open Cup starts and schedule does start to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, then we start really worrying about what center backs we got.
Yeah,
fair enough.
All right, so FC Dallas 2, Kansas City 1, Peter Vermees out. We look ahead next week as the boys go on the road to ATL. We'll just briefly touch on this real quick, but Atlanta is currently sitting in 11th place on the Eastern Conference table with 8 points in 6 games. Their record is 2-2-2. They've scored 9. They've allowed 9, and they're 2-0 at home, and then 0-2-2 away. So, I apologize. They have 10 goals for 11 allowed. They're 2-1-1 at home and 0-1-1 on the road.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about this game, but only because Atlanta's 4 out of their 10 goals came last week.
Atlanta's a little bit of a dangerous team. They showed up late in the playoffs last year. They shocked Messi at home at home in Atlanta, and they beat a team that they weren't supposed to beat, and they made a little bit of noise. And they've been spending a ton of money, and seems like it's not working to their favor yet. But again, way early in the season, 6 games played, not a lot of gel between guys who came in late in the offseason. But I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be interesting to see them go on the road to an Eastern Conference team for the first time this season. So we'll see where that takes us. But what do you guys think?
I'm thinking that the defense is beatable by our attack, but I think they have enough difference makers that worries me. I low-key hope we see an away game shootout, personally.
I don't want to see a shootout. We don't fare well in shootouts.
No, 3-3. Colorado, 3-3. Let's make it work.
Yeah. I don't know. If we can take it to them and we force them to chase the game, that would be great. But I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Atlanta play. I know they weren't scoring a ton of goals before this game, but to come back from 3-1 down to win 4-3 is pretty insane. That was against what? NYCFC? How good is NYC?
NYC is just one spot above them in the table, same points. And they're also 2-2-2.
Yeah,
that was where I was actually reading the data from. My line got a little wonky.
I mean, obviously they've got Almiron, or I don't remember how to pronounce his name. And we know he can be a difference maker. So let's see what happens there.
Major League Soccer, send us a pronunciation guide, please.
If you don't know how to say Albaron, then we're completely screwed because you're the only one that knows how to roll the R's correctly.
I didn't know if that one was rolled because it's not a double R.
Well, it's an O with the accent, right? So Albaron.
It doesn't show the accent on my app, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it does.
If I had the accent, I would. So it's over the O.
Yes, it's over the O.
Yeah. It's Almiron.
There you go. See, there we go. We just need a little bit more of that.
Yeah, pull seasoning on it.
Anyway, super expensive, sell and repurchase, right? That was him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm worried about him, but at the same time, I don't know. This team's been okay at putting a couple of players on islands this season. I wonder if they can pull that off again.
So here's the thing. I think they're going to suffer from early expectation. Attendance is already back down to earth.
Wow.
When you come in, I mean, Back to Earth is the same way Seattle's Back to Earth. They're still about in the 30,000, but they're no longer regularly filling that building, which we all knew was going to happen. That is unfortunately a vicious cycle of new teams coming into MLS. It's like, oh, we're really excited, except for Charlotte. Charlotte never actually got that max out stadium feel and then fall off, but
It did for one game.
Yep.
Yes, when you sell tickets for what you were selling it for. But yeah, they won MLS Cup their first go around, so they're already better than us, which sucks. As far as the originals, I think it's just us and nobody else that hasn't won one yet, which is sad.
There's New England, right?
Yes, us in New England.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So we're the two originals that have not won in 30 years, but that's fine.
Do we have the two richest owners too? Is that what I'm?
Well,
Robert Kraft and the Hunts.
The Hunts are a group, and then Bob Kraft. So it depends. If you
that's
put
actually
all
billionaire owners, right?
Yes, that's true.
Hey, we have a star.
sorry.
Okay, we have a U.S. Open Cup at least.
We have more than one U.S.
We have two U.S. Open Cups, the Supporters Shield, and one MLS Cup appearance. We had another one where we should have went. So yeah. Anyway, either way, if we ever go back to the history of this, right? We hate every team in the Northeast or Northwest, Portland and Seattle, because on back-to-back years they knocked us out when we should have gone to MLS Cup. And anyone who's been a fan of this team for a while knows that. Atlanta's not any good. We can get back to that. Yeah. Brad Guzan is aging out. Speaking of U.S. men's national team goalkeepers, can you imagine there was an era where you had Brad Guzan and Howard, right? You had shot stoppers, and now you have
a guy who doesn't even get to play in his league team.
We got Steffen and
I like Zach Steffen, but
who's y'all's keeper? I can't remember.
Turner.
Gotcha.
Turner. We have Turner. You have Zach Steffen. What's my guy in Colorado that just came back from not playing at Manchester?
Yeah,
City?
that's Steffen, right?
No, Steffen plays in Seattle. I'm talking about what's the kid's name? We can look that up here in a second. But
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. That being said, so Atlanta, they're beatable. They're 8 points, 2-2-2. We already went through the stats. Albaran is good, but he needs help. Their defense is not that strong. They've let in a lot of goals. They've scored a lot of goals, but they've let in a lot of goals. We're going the opposite direction. We let a lot of goals in the beginning, and now we're shutting the door. They're just letting goals in. So I think we were right to be cautiously optimistic in the beginning of the season, where the more they play, the better they'll be. Again, like Hubert mentioned, if we're going to play Norris, to be honest, I don't think we play Norris in this game because, he will get eaten alive. But yeah, man, I'm really excited, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Like, the more I watch it, the time difference is going to suck for me, FYI. So if I miss the next couple of games, it'll be at 1 a.m. I think. So it'll be excited. I'll make sure not to bring you guys anything, but
smart.
It'll be fun. No, I'm just kidding. I am taking.
We appreciate that.
Anything. But yeah, it'll be fun, guys. I'm gonna miss you guys. We will have a replacement for me, or it'll just be these two beautiful people. Let me do this way. There you go.
You might just have to stare at me and Hubert for an hour a week now.
We'll just sit here in silence.
So that wraps up FC Dallas 2, Sporting Kansas City 1. I will say, I think this was one more thought.
Like, share, subscribe. No,
we're not done here. We're not done yet. But like, share, and
Just
subscribe.
get excited.
We're not done yet.
He's getting excited about it.
Just shooting it off early. Like the flares. So I will say I think this was our outside of 24-hour, which is always an event unto itself. I will say I think this is our best tailgate so far. We had a great turnout. Lots of people came out. We had excellent weather. It was warm. It was a little breezy, but the wind held down. Tent held up in place just barely, but we made it. A lot of great folks come out. I know some of our pod viewer listeners were out there. So if you guys watch, listen to us here, and you want to come debate us in person, please do. Marcus especially loves a good argument in the middle of a parking lot. But please, guys, come on out and come hang with us. Shout out to Community Beer Co. The Honey Citrus Blonde was a massive hit. I know we floated that keg pretty early. They brought out was excellent as well, and the Nadas were a big hit too if you like NA options. But what did you guys think about this week's tailgate?
Yeah, we did. We're getting better. The team is getting better, and so are we. We'll have
Like
a
that. I like that
surprise.
analogy.
Yeah, we'll have a surprise drop for merch coming soon. Some new era hats, maybe a new kit. So follow us on all social media. We're Dallas Bear Guardians on everything.
You mean there's a surprise third kit that there's a lot of hype over?
Maybe.
I think we should hype up this kit.
Yeah. So follow us on everything. Dallas Bear Guardians.
You know that team we hate? That color.
No, it's
not our third kit. That's besides the point. We're talking about our merch, Hubert, not the team's merch. But no, turnout was great. Weather was good. The tent lasted 2 whole seasons, and by that I mean a season and 4 games. And then
it started breaking game 1. Remember?
Yeah,
so I'm glad it made it this long.
Yeah.
Side note: if anyone knows how to weld aluminum, we can use you in 2 weeks on Saturday at 12. Please show up about 4 p.m. We can use an aluminum welder.
For sure.
You weld aluminum by buying a new one.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, along with following us on everything, if you go to the website, sign up for our email listings. We are looking for positions to join us. We need help with the tailgate. If you're a graphic designer or know your way around Canva,
Video editor.
And a video editor, yes, to get these looking more professional, for sure.
That's where you'll find the away ticket links too on the emails.
Yes, and we do away travel as well that we coordinate with the team. We also vote on man of the match. So if you sign up for that, we're going to send out a QR code that you can sign up for that as well. So yeah, it's very important for you guys, and we love that y'all listen to this, and we love that y'all come out to the tailgate. But if you feel like being active, we will also take all the help we can get.
On that note about ticketing links for San Diego and Kansas City games are available. If you haven't seen them in the newsletter, they'll be posted up in the Discord. Check our socials. Send us a message. Ask for them. They're out and about. If you need them, let us know, and we'll be happy to reach out to them. If you're looking to go to San Diego or Kansas City for road matches, please use the ticketing links. When we buy in bulk, when supporters groups buy together and we buy from those links, it gets us a little bit more bargaining when we have these conversations and things like that. So, don't go to StubHub, don't go to SeatGeek or wherever else you use. Go through our link, and we have a direct link from the club, and it's at cost. So check us out for that stuff. Any last notes about tailgate?
No,
DBG business?
No, I think that's about it. Like I said, DBG on Dallas Bear Guardians. My apologies. Dallas Bear Guardians on all social media feeds. Follow us on or download these episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, and obviously on YouTube. We're now at 99 subscribers, which I think is up 20 since when we started this. So we are growing. We wanted to get more in depth with the sport, and we thought this was a good idea, and you guys seem to agree, so we really appreciate it. And I want to thank these gentlemen every week for cutting out some time out of your schedule and rewatching the games because you miss it when you're there. So we want to thank you for all your efforts.
I only pay for tickets to watch the game and my back to it.
Yeah. It's a weird dichotomy of being in the supporters group.
Final thoughts before we wrap up and take this home, as we're coming up on an hour 20.
All my opinions are off the cuff, so I probably don't believe these in 20 minutes after the podcast is over. So feel free to come argue with me about that at the tailgate, because you're probably right.
Yeah, we're just making this up. No, I was kidding. Again, this is just
three guys. Didn't take pages of notes.
I mean, that's besides the point. When you see me looking at things here, there's a whole. Like Dennis said, follow us on everything. Support the pod. Support the team.
My notes for this week.
Oh, there we go. Sloppy finishing. Is that? Are you just talking about your? Never mind. We can't talk about it.
Oh, you're gonna get us in trouble.
So we're gonna keep it going. Like I said, just support from everyone that we've heard. They seem to like what we're doing here. We want to grow this as much as possible. Like I said, we're at 99 subscribers on YouTube, and we're going to try to get more content out. Yeah, there we go. That isn't this pod. We might live stream the US Garland thing. I'll be in Japan, so I'll definitely be having videos from a FC Tokyo game. So you will see some Dallas Bear Guardians gear in Tokyo here in about 2 weeks. So it should be a fun time.
You have some stickers up in the stadium?
Oh, absolutely. And feel free again to join us. The email newsletter lists from the website. Follow us on everything. And yes, we are more than welcome. We like having 4 squares up here. So if any
It looks a lot better.
yeah,
I'm
if
lonely
any of
down
you
here.
want to join, just follow us on socials. You can DM us, and if the schedule works out, you can come on here for a segment that says spout your opinions, or I don't know. We'll come up with a clever name for it. But anyways, gentlemen, thanks again for another insightful review of This Week in FC Dallas.
Hit the line, Marcus.
Oh, sorry, I muted. Like, share, and subscribe, and y'all have a good night.
We are Blood, Sweat, and Beers.